Dear friends, recently an article was published on the Chinese state-owned electronic newspaper with the title, "America Continues to Provoke China. The reason may be different from what we think, there is a big problem behind it." Here we invite you to listen, recently at the 10th Beijing Xiangshan Forum. The theme of this forum was, Common Security, Lasting Peace. Nearly 2,000 guests attended the event, including nearly 100 official delegations, defense ministers from 19 countries, representatives of 6 international organizations, experts, scholars and observers from many countries. Family, General Zhang Youxia said in his speech that all countries are on the same big ship. Without mutual respect, it is difficult to live peacefully. Hot issues in the world today arise one after another. However, some countries are afraid of world instability, so they deliberately cause trouble, interfere in regional affairs, and interfere in the internal affairs of the world. Other countries, they even planted nails everywhere for their own selfish interests, artificially creating many geopolitical conflicts, maintaining long-term prejudice, leading to a complicated and difficult regional situation. All of which are inseparable from the American presence. Regarding the Taiwan issue, Zhang Youxia said that this is China's core interest. No matter who wants to separate Taiwan from China in any form, the Chinese military will never agree or show mercy. Although the Taiwan issue is my country's core interest, it is greatly influenced by the United States. The reason why Taiwan cannot be unified is because of continued obstruction by the United States, both after the founding of New China and in the 1990s. The current Taiwan Strait issue has had new changes. After decades of development, our country's naval and air force have been significantly enhanced, combined with the rocket force to have military advantages. Determinism around the first island chain has a significant impact. Reduce difficulties in taking back Taiwan. Correspondingly, both the Taiwanese government and the U.S. government see this, so both sides actively strengthen the Taiwanese military's combat capabilities, especially asymmetric combat capabilities. Related manifestations include the Taiwanese government starting to build its own submarines and purchasing more personal combat equipment. This would not only strengthen China's military deterrence with the first island chain but also increase the loss of military rule. In essence, the U.S. wants to hinder China's rise in general by sacrificing more interests in the Taiwan region, not only in the Taiwan Strait, but also in the East Sea, the East China Sea and even the Yellow Sea. The U.S. has been aggressive in military activities and continuously provoked China. Not long ago, the U.S. just held a joint maritime military exercise in the Yellow Sea. Where is the Golden Sea? This is a maritime gateway to important areas of Gyeonggi province in our country, and is also an important maritime route that has been invaded by foreign powers since the Qing dynasty. The United States held a large-scale maritime military exercise right on China's doorstep, which was clearly a protest against China. In the East China Sea, most of the U.S. military stationed in Japan is concentrated in the Ryukyu Islands. If the U.S. military wants to strengthen military deterrence against China, it still needs to increase military deployment here, including the placement of additional fifth-generation fighter aircraft and the establishment of a new littoral combat group. U.S. ground-launched intermediate-range missile systems are likely to be deployed in the Ryukyu Islands in the future. Hybrid, posing a threat to the southeastern coast and interior of our country. Area. In the East Sea, U.S. military provocations are increasingly frequent. U.S. military aircraft and warships continuously invade our country's islands and reefs. Submarines and underwater vehicles, unmanned drones are actively operating in the East Sea. The U.S. also takes advantage of the East Sea issue to exaggerate the threat from China and unite neighboring countries against China. In recent years, the country has not only strengthened its military bases in the Philippines but also supported the Philippines in taking more aggressive actions around Second Thomas Shoal and Scarborough Shoal. In general, in recent years the United States has continued to provoke China from many different directions, so what benefits can the United States gain from this? 631/5.000, Ket Kwa Dike, Ket Kwa Ban Dike. On the one hand, the U.S. continues to provoke China and uses its right to speak before the international community to exaggerate China's resistance to the threat from China. In this way, the region will become more unstable, which will force many small and medium-sized countries to turn to the United States. This would further strengthen U.S. influence in the region, and subsequently unite these countries to deter imaginary enemies. The United States is currently the world's largest arms exporter. In order to strengthen its self-defense capabilities, these small and medium-sized countries will likely buy American weapons and the United States will earn a lot of money from them. On the other hand, the United States, as a financial empire with essentially hollow industries, mainly relies on absorbing capital from other countries to maintain economic stability. The outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war was inseparable from the United States. After the war broke out, the United States added fuel to the fire and continued the war. As a result, European capital fled to the United States in large numbers. When European countries were in economic crisis, America became the country that benefited the most from this war. Currently, China's total economy ranks second in the world, and it is natural for Americans to covet it. The U.S. continues to provoke around China in the hope that China will fall into conflict, which will not only hinder China's development but also attract Chinese capital to flee for safety. In this way, the country not only suppresses its opponents but also strengthens its own power to maintain U.S. world hegemony. However, China possesses nuclear weapons and powerful conventional combat forces. The United States does not want direct conflict with China, so it continues to challenge the governments of Taiwan and the Philippines in the hope of achieving its goal of achieving common goals through a proxy war. What do you think about this article from the Chinese press? Please leave us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to watch the latest videos. See you soon.